All right, so back to animation. So recently it's been confirmed that The Incredibles is going to have a third movie. Unfortunately, we're going to have to wait a long time for it because it's not going to be released until 2028, maybe possibly 2027 if we're lucky. So it's like, because I remember when the first movie came out, it was like, okay, a number of years had passed, and it was like, okay, I guess they're not doing a second one. And then they decided to bring about the second one. What is that, 14 years after the first? And it's like, well, I guess better late than never. So here's the review on the first movie. The first film introduces Bob and Helen Parr, formerly the famous superheroes known as Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl, who are forced into retirement and a quiet suburban life by a government mandate that bans all super activity. Bob's desire to return to his glory days leads him into a conflict with a vengeful fan turned foe named Syndrome, eventually requiring his entire family, Violet Dash and Jack Jack, to embrace their powers and work together to save the world. The film was a critical and commercial success, grossing over $631 million worldwide and winning the Academy Award for Best Animated Picture. Now, so yeah, that was the box office. It was over 631 million with a budget of 145 million. So they did almost four and a half times their budget. So let me go to, oh, here we go. Here we go. Letterboxd gave this film a 4.1 out of 5. So that's 41 out of 50, which is 82 out of 100. So 82%. Google users gave it 86%. Internet Movie Database gave it 80%. Rotten Tomatoes gave it 97%. And I most agree with Common Sense Media that gave it a 100%. So I can say without a doubt and with no shame, like this is especially one of my favorite animated films. I gotta say, it was loaded with action, comedy, thriller, all that stuff. So here's how Comics Media breaks it down. Elastigirl, a superhero heroine whose limbs and torso can stretch the length of an Olympic swimming pool, pauses for just a second on the way to saving the world to check out her body in the form fitting suit. Seems that after three kids, there's a bit of stretching there. That doesn't have anything to do with superpowers. Okay, her super strong husband, Mr. Incredible, who's voiced by Craig T. Nelson, she's played by Holly Hunter, finds that if he isn't careful throwing evil robots around, he can throw his back out too. Everyday life is challenging enough for these superhero parents, especially with a young baby, a super speedy son, and a middle school daughter who can create force fields and make herself invisible. Cleverly, these superpowers resemble some familiar family roles: powerful dad, stretched thin mom, hyperactive jock son, shy and awkward daughter, and add resonance to this story of family who sticks together no matter what. Now, is it any good? Here's what they say. So parents gave it 80%, kids gave it 80%. The overall site, they gave it 100. I think that's most accurate. What is most incredible and most engaging about this film is how well credible it is. Brad Bird, who's the writer and director of it, and the brainiacs at Pixar have climbed the Mount Everest of animation and created human characteristics as vivid and believable and utterly endearing as any who have ever appeared on film, animation, live action, and everything in between. In a witty prologue, we see the superheroes being interviewed. As Mr. Incredible leans towards the TV camera, he gets slightly out of focus. It must have been tempting to take advantage of the endless precision of computer images to keep the edges sharp. But this is a movie that is clever and confident enough to permit a little imperfection in pursuit of a perfect believability. The action sequences in this movie are superbly staged, inventive, and exciting, especially the fights with a mini tentacled robot and when the incredible family is joined by the very cool Frozone, Samuel Jackson, who can create ice out of the water molecules in the air. It's also a very funny movie, hilarious at every level, from school age Snickers to good natured teen snarkiness to subtle grown up laughter. Bird himself plays the funniest character in the film, the supersuit designer Edna Mode. Most of all, though, the movie has wisdom and tons of heart. It's a smart, fresh, and funny movie about the real superheroes, families who stick together. So, out of animated films, this one is for sure in my top 10. I kind of almost say top five, but I'm like, there's just some stuff that it can't top. Now, if I'm only going off of comedic animated movies, like if comedy is the only metric that I'm using, then I would say that this is in the top five. Because I think for me, the number one funniest animated film is Shrek. And after that would be Shark Tale, and then there's Madagascar, and then I'd probably put Incredibles at number four as far as comedy. But animation overall, number one for me is Lion King. And then you got Jungle Book, Land Before Time. So it's like I don't know. It's gonna be difficult to top that. But again, it depends on what metric you're using. Are you only looking at the comedy aspect? Or are you only looking at the uh, whatever other aspect it may be, whether it's the drama aspect or the suspenseful aspect, whatever it may be? So this film was 2004. It's an hour and 55 minutes. I mean, that way, of course, if you take away most of the credits, it's more like an hour and 48, 49 minutes or something like that. But I actually regret not seeing this film in theaters, even though I did see the second film in theaters. But when I saw this one, I was like, I can see that. I can see why this was like a must go see at theaters. The second movie actually grossed a lot more than the first one did, but I'd say nevertheless, this is one of the best animated films of all time, and I still enjoy it to this day. Um, I will be seeing the third one in theaters for sure, and I mean, that's assuming that it's even in theaters at that time, assuming that streaming services haven't ended theatrical runs because, I mean, you know how that's going nowadays. So I think they had a great cast to it. You had, hold on, hold on. There we go. Okay, so Mr. Incredible was voiced by Craig T. Nelson. You had Elastigirl played by Holly Hunter, who, by the way, has a good TV show called Saving Grace. It's an older show. She's a cop in there. That's a really good show. Sarah, is it Vowell or Vowell as Violet? Spencer Fox as Dash. Jason Lee as Incrediboy, who later became Syndrome. Samuel Jackson as Frozone. Elizabeth Pena as Mirage. Brad Bird as Edna. And a bunch of other people who played a bunch of minor characters. So, like I said, if you got young kids who haven't seen this movie, I suggest showing it to them and say, "Hey, this is what we watched growing up. This is one of our movies right here." So I give the movie a 10 out of 10, masterpiece, and I can't wait for that third movie.